There's some thoughts also having this morning, gentlemen, about human beings naturally. When people are doing things, I was doing a story about Oprah Winfrey. When Oprah Winfrey was starting her Oprah Winfrey show, she was called a black, incoherent, ugly woman who had nothing to bring on the TV. Today she's worth in excess of $2.6 billion. There are a lot of things that happen. Zingine unafanya kitu Ekuru Aukot, unaanza kama itadwe yako ulianza kimchezo sema that's an underdog. I mean, he's not going to go anywhere. But you ended up shaping conversations, And I think there are a lot of people who are struggling with that, where they want to pay attention to what every other person is saying. And most of the time, those people around you have nothing really meaningful to say. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
For me, that somehow triggered a thought about Martin Luther King Jr. When back, he said that I have a dream. And, his dream was that one day, one time, he would see racial equality in the U.S., or that maybe even a black man will become the president of the United States. But what I think captures my mind more is what he said, that if you cannot fly, run. And if you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving. Keep moving. Yeah. So I think in this country, even with the things that are happening in our country today, the wrong prioritization of what ails Kenya, and I say this, Bitok, with a lot of actually pain and sympathy to our nation. That today I woke up to news, or yesterday, that the mayor of California, has ordered a lockdown, total lockdown. I think it's the mayor of Los Angeles. California is one of the biggest economies in the world, because they are prioritizing lives over politics, over anything else. Countries like the United Kingdom have already ordered over 40 million vaccines. Germany has done the same thing. They're already preparing, spaces where people will go for vaccination. But, when I think about what's happening in our country today, it really, really, really pains me that doctors and nurses are about to go on strike. We don't know about school opening. About 7 million small businesses have been shut down. Unemployment rates, people have lost jobs, people are being auctioned. But look at what the top leadership of this country is prioritizing. A constitutional referendum, which does not even have head or tail, and allocating 14 billion to that constitutional referendum. When that 14 billion could actually even revamp small businesses, could put money into people's pockets, could help nurses, could buy PPEs. Today as we speak, Bitok, even the free masks that were given by Jack Ma, that billionaire Chinese, have not reached our villages. But the BBI signature collection forms are already in the villages being enforced by chiefs, ward administrators, and that before you are now given any service in any public office, you must sign. This is a very sorry state of affairs in our country. And really, it makes me wonder, who bewitched us? I don't believe in witchcraft, but at this rate... At
times you have to ask yourself, ni kama hiki tu iko. Zingine unakaa mpaka unajiambia ni kama hiki tu.
Ni kama tu iko. Sababu, ama daktari, Ojwang. When you think about some of the unorthodox things that are happening in our country at a time of, desperation and need, wouldn't you really sometimes think that, or believe witchcraft is actually real, and that somebody actually is performing it so successfully?
Witchcrafts have always been real.
And Bitok, you and I were chatting earlier before, and you're asking me, why are political leaders in this country flip-flopping? So one minute they are against BBI, the next minute they are not sure. I'll tell you this, Bitok. Wewe huwezi kukataa mama yako hata ukiambia mama yako ni mchawi.
Nasema bado ni mama yangu.
Bado ni mama yangu.
Mama ni mama.
Mama ni mama. Utasema tu watu wanaonea mama yangu. Hata kama mama yako ni mchawi. Most of these leaders, if you look at them, they are creatures of this very, very corrupt system. So you cannot live. They will have to survive somehow. So that for me is really sad.
It's a pursuit of personal survival.
Oh yeah, it's about their survival. It's not about country. It's not really about country. Because if it was about country, we would be able now to say what really is the priority for Kenya today as we speak. You will have a leadership that will be able to have that kind of discourse and debate. But, you know, like I keep on saying, you know, me, I always get reminded of the words of, you know, that philosopher, Plato, that say that one of the consequences of us refusing to participate in politics is that we'll be governed by our inferiors. So let's leave the consequences as Kenyans. Because today, you know, many things are happening, many things are going wrong, but the leadership in the country is not bothered, is not thinking about it. They are thinking about how do we, actually we have become a visionless country, that our only vision today is 2022. You know,
and actually, had a preacher who was talking about that. JB Masinde from Deliverance.
Exactly.
I know you want to really love to hear the same video. But anyway, Ojwang, even before you go to that, Sonko has been impeached. Talking about consequences, Sonko has been impeached. Sonko he had 57 MCAs in Mombasa. And the total is 122. How did the system? But how did the system? Yes, Kwale. And how did the system come up with 88 out of 122? When you minus 57 from 122, you get 65.
If you Safaricom, there's something called top-up. There's even Fuliza. You can even Fuliza MCS.
Only Fuliza Kura.
But you know, there's... my grandmother kept saying that there is... If you have to do a wrong thing, do it the right way. And that really, how can... So don't do a wrong thing
in a wrong way.
Do it also a wrong way. That is 2 strikes, isn't it? So here, even the impeachment of Sonko is a wrong thing, the wrong way. BBI is a wrong thing, the wrong way. If you have to do one evil, do the wrong thing, but try to at least do the right process as you are doing the wrong thing. Look at it, you know, I think there's consensus that there is less love for Sonko. There are people who don't feel that Sonko deserves to be a governor. But you see, it's not about Sonko, it's what devolution is about. That devolution and the spirit of devolution was actually to check the imperial presidency, isn't it? That we are moving power from the center, and we are devolving power, responsibility, authority, functions. So the spirit of devolution, of coming with 48 excellencies. And remember, when we had this conversation, are they excellency, are they not? That I'm here, I'm told excellency is coming, I'm thinking president is coming, it's just a mere governor. Get over it. We decided to create 48
it's not in the constitution, Doc.
That
it is tied to excellency. They just gave it to themselves, but actually it's not in the Katiba.
No, they did, and there was time they were trying to regulate even and saying who can be called excellencies. And
even
of course,
the wife of an MCA now is got a first lady.
And let her be. Let her be first lady. Though I wonder how you are first lady if you are the only lady. You know, if you are in a class where you are only one student and you are number one, it doesn't make sense to be number one. So the spirit of devolution and what is happening is beyond Sonko. So whether you love Sonko or not, the imperial presidency that can decide to come down to county and deal and remove that and create a parallel system and then remove that governor that they don't like. That is affront to devolution, not to Sonko. And that is what offend the spirit of the constitution, which was that, you know, the whole constitution experiment.
I think it's Doc. I think it was Senior Counsel James Orengo who put it aptly that one day the government will eat its own people. So I think Sonko is being eaten by his own government.
Revolution is its own.
But still, of course, it was Orengo took that quote from Ouko, and he didn't acknowledge that it's not his. And you can even see throughout his flip-flop himself that that quote is not his, because his character
Practically
you can see it was a borrowed. It's like you borrow assignment.
you forgot to borrow the character.
So in other words, it's intellectual dishonesty.
No, yes, it is from Aukot. It's not him.
Yes.
And now he is smiling gleefully as he's being associated with this. It was Robert Aukot's quote, Dr. Aukot's quote.
Dr. Aukot.
But beyond that, then let him grow the character to fit that. Because you cannot say revolution eats its own baby while you are on the door,
On the laps
way
of
out
of
to this monster who eats the baby.
But maybe he's in the eating party.
Yeah, but then you don't so then that quote become inconsistent.
Yes.
Because your action preach louder than what. But beyond that, what we are seeing is that Jubilee government have never been friends of devolution. Aukot. And your bill,
Even friends of the country.
even the friends of the country.
Yes.
But yes, but we are in counties.
Yes.
So the people are in county. And this county was to bring check and balance.
That's true.
The only imperial precedence, even when we talk of winner take it all, was that we are, as long as we have a powerful president who can use the police, they can use NIS, can use the state machinery during election and even after, then we really can't do anything about winner takes it all. It's the imperial presidency that can marshal and can have all these actors that can go and send police on their own, knowing that we are helping the bigger cause, decide to tear gas Sonko as he's meeting to plan about his impeachment. And the motion can pass without any debate. Within the first mention, it has passed.
And people voted remotely.
And people voted remotely and a cocktail, some there, some remotely and all that. So, but look at the war against devolution. Look at how much, when we used to have Isaac Ruto, when we used to have people who will speak truth to power.
Isaac Ruto, another flip-flopper.
Of late, the pre-flip-flop. But now,
the earlier version.
the earlier version. Not
Isaac Ruto 1.0.
Ruto 2.
Not 2.0.
But now, look at, there is no county, there is no governor. It's either intimidation through your tax, through NIS, through the report.
Through the theft also.
Yes, you must do A, B, C, D, and that is bad governance. And that is really weakening, because when you weaken counties and you weaken devolution, you have weakened check and balance. You have weakened rule of law. And you have weakened the voice of the people, because people live in the county and remember the principle of subsidiarity, that the decision must be done at the lowest unit. That is where Kenyans are. So we are seeing a system where the constitution is saying these are distinct governments. They should only cooperate with respect and consult and with equality.
Article
Yes,
6.
but look at it when you are called to State House. So what Sonko called out was that this thing of you deciding, and a lot of bad things have been done by people who mean well. Even if you give the Excellency the benefit of doubt that this military guy can do a better job. That you decide that I'm going to bring military guy. You bring in Sonko. In his account, he's saying he was told sign between the dotted lines.
He didn't know.
He didn't know, and
But
that.
why didn't he read? And Sonko is a graduate. Why didn't Sonko read?
Aukot, what are your thoughts on this?
I was just saying,
what are your thoughts on Sonko's impeachment? As well?
First of all,
And the threat of devolution.
I think Bitok, I hope I will survive living here. I think I want to be brutally honest.
Please.
I think the number one enemy of this country now has turned out to be the presidency. Like Doc has ably explained. We are back to the time of imperial presidency, where things are being forced onto Kenyans, whether Kenyans like it or not. So for me, it is sad to say that I actually thought that President Uhuru will fare well. But President Uhuru has proved that actually he has no, I think, capacity, to be honest, even a policy direction for this country, where the country must go. I think he honestly does not know how to govern the country. And which is why you can see, if he cannot govern, or he cannot consult and cooperate with a governor, he creates a parallel system called, for example, NMS, Nairobi Metropolitan Service, and then brings in a military person. You can see the militarization, for example, of the ESCC and many institutions. So that is ruled by fiat, ruled by fear, ruled by force. And I think this is where we are today, that we cannot even sit and discuss. You saw, for example, what happened, the changes in the leadership, in the Senate, in the National Assembly. It was by force. It was to achieve a certain objective of mine. Because I believe that the presidency as a power on its own can be very persuasive. You can actually sit down with people and say, listen, I know you hold a different political persuasion than mine, but if we put the country, Kenya, first, and say, okay, these are your responsibilities, these are my responsibilities. How do we serve the people we call Kenyans today? So for me, that is one of the failings, the greatest failings of this government. I don't even want to go to the promises they made to Kenyans. Come to think of it, somebody who lies to a child that I will give you a peremende or a sweet, and you don't give that. And I'm assuming now, let's equate the laptop to the peremende. You don't do that to a child. And that's what the Jubilee government has done to our children. That's what the Jubilee government is doing to us as Kenyans. And I think it's a big failure. And to be honest with you, one of the legacy of President Uhuru will just be written in one line, or one word, or two words: a failed government.
Failed. Let's talk about Sonko. There was a court injunction. There was actually a court order that the MCA should not discuss it.
Sonko's problem is internal. It's part of the bad system that we call Kenya, the governance in this country. Sonko, remember, is a Jubilee governor. Yeah. He campaigned, and there's a time Sonko will literally kill you for Uhuru Kenyatta. Yeah. If you remember.
My president.
He will literally chase you out of Nairobi because of Uhuru Kenyatta. Now the same government has actually come to bite Sonko. And when I saw yesterday, I was watching the videos of these MCAs trying to defend Sonko. I asked myself, what were they doing in Kwale, holidaying, when there was a serious motion in the county assembly? They cannot come and start moralizing Kenyans and saying, oh, my signature was forged. They were ferried to Kwale to try and defeat a constitutional process. Impeachment is part of the constitutional process. So they should have been there to say, as a representative of this ward, I disagree with this, and debate the issues. They refused. So Sonko, I think, is being eaten by his own government.
So the guys played Sonko. The one they were with him.
Sonko alichezwa. In fact, I don't even trust some of those MCAs. I believe some of those MCAs actually voted to impeach Sonko while they were still feasting in his lavish or hotel, in his money,
in his M-Pesa account.
And the truth be told, tuacha kudanganyana, this is Kenya. Bitok, we may have been born at night, but I don't think it was last night. We know what transpired. We know people are ferried, wakapatiwa allowances. Baada ya kukula allowances,
but they were standing there with the placard. What time were they voting?
Hizo zote ni vile what Sonko calls cinemares, vipindirez. Hizo ni mavipindirez tu. Because hata Sonko mwenyewe, I'm sure Sonko anajua alichezo tu.
But what do you think about the constitutional process in the whole thing? Because there was a court order that they should not discuss or should not proceed with the impeachment motion. These are two conflicting constitutional harms.
I'm not even sure whether in the context of this government we can even discuss about respect for the rule of law, respect for court orders, respect for the constitution. This government has proven over and over again that it does not care about the constitution, it does not care about court orders, it has defied court orders. President Uhuru, there is an order compelling him to actually swear in the 41 judges. He has refused. He has disobeyed many court orders. So, for them, I don't even think it's a misnomer for me to discuss court orders in the context of Jubilee government, because I don't think they care really about constitutionality. They don't care about the rule of law. They don't care about even the arrangements. Look at when they starved counties from just revenue allocation alone. It's a constitutional. So, who are we talking about constitution? And this brings another point, fundamental point, Bitok, that people who are opposed to BBI keep on saying that let's implement this current constitution. And the question I keep on asking, who will implement this constitution? The very, very people who keep on violating this constitution, if you look at the choreography towards the next leadership in this country, it's from the same people who are actually violating this constitution.
Yeah.
So I feel it is naive of us to begin to think about or to talk about respecting the constitution in the context of Jubilee administration. Jubilee administration does not care about the constitution.
The constitution is not one of their businesses.
It's not one of their business. Their biggest business is about our personal interest, about our survival. And what Jubilee has successfully done, and maybe this is one of the geniuses of Uhuru Kenyatta, if you have to grant him that analogy, is to buy Baba and to bring Baba on board, Raila Odinga.
He bought Baba.
This is the genius of Uhuru Kenyatta, political presidency, to bring Baba on board so that it justifies. He has killed
the voices of noise
opposition.
makers.
He has killed democracy inside Bunge. He has killed democracy inside the Senate. He has actually he's killing democracy successfully. And people are jumping into this bandwagon called, Jubilee administration. So even people who are pretending for many years, donkey years, that they are the saviors of this country, they are the doyens of democracy. In fact, the only doyen of democracy I can associate is Ajuma, the late Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. The rest are flip-floppers, as we have already established here. They're dancing to the tune of
the system.
So I think for me,
constitutionalism
today is just theory. Maybe this is Dr. Ojwang is teaching to his students. It's just
it's a lecture.
Constitutionalism is a lecture, but in the
it's a public lecture.
The context like it's a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. But in the context of practicing it, in this, and Doc can elaborate more on that.
Daktari,
I think it's academic exercise.
But what is the
you know that thing where when things are not practical, we put it to be academic. It's really disrespect to the academic world, because academic is real world, and academic is very important, offering solution to real problem, not hypothetical. But anyway, so what I'm thinking, nobody, even if you're a Christian, even God, I don't follow God blindly. So why should I follow politician blindly? Why should you follow BBI blindly? If even God you are not following blindly. So I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, you know what? To be honest, we are not going to create our own new people. We are not going to do a reversed DNA and undo Sonko. Sonko is a Kenyan. He has been a senator and is a governor. We are not going to undo Oparanya. We are not going to undo Orengo. We are not going to undo Joho. They are there. So I'm looking at a way that we accept that Sonko could have made mistakes, but when Sonko is saying the right thing, we can also accept that Sonko, you are saying the right thing. Remember, coming to this, Sonko had questioned forceful eviction openly and clearly. Coming to this, Sonko had questioned, even when he appeared that he wanted to work with the government on with the NMS, but he had questioned the secretiveness, the idea that the general body is only answerable to the president. How can that be devolution?
It cannot be.
Ati nimemlete hapo anafanya kazi yake. No, I mean, read the constitution. It is us Kenyans who let people there. Even if we have brought Sonko, respect our idiot. Because we are the people, isn't it? We are the sovereign. It's our idiot. It's ours. You might have your genius, but you have no power to bring that genius on us. Isn't it?
Yes, that's true.
So whether Sonko is whatever, is the people's idiot. He has been put there And I'm not saying he's an idiot. I'm saying worst case scenario. For all those, oh my goodness, Sonko is not. And let us be honest. What is education? Nyong'o is supporting BBI.
Yes.
So what, have you seen much difference between those who have gone to school and those who have not gone to school? Especially this formal
professors,
this formal education of Kenya, which is overrated.
Yes.
Have you seen difference?
No.
Joe is doing just well.
Yes.
With his certificates or the lack of them thereof. Awiti is just here doing whatever. So
Awiti is busy dancing.
Awiti is busy dancing and dancing very well.
Awiti is a Kuba.
Let us put an adjective. Awiti danced well. So what is this hype about education? If we as the people put Sonko there, and I'm not saying I voted for him, I voted at home, but if the people put him there,
in fact it was the president's choice.
Yes. So but people confirmed it through ballot. You cannot then decide.
Not just once,
that
twice.
Twice.
A senator, a governor.
And a governor.
Yes.
Yes. So in fact, you can say that he has a very good career politically. He has. Yes. So then you cannot. Nobody, an institution. You know, if Constitution was doing anything, and this is not academic, was to restrain the government. That is all, isn't it? That's why it's the social contract.
Yes.
There is nothing else. If it's a good constitution and it adds a few things, like it adds Bill of Rights, then that is even a bonus. But the function of constitution is simply to restrain the government, isn't it? More so the presidency. So if the president is very comfortable that huyo mtu wangu nimemlete hapo, and you are talking of devolution, which was supposed to check you, and then you are telling the governor that take the money and give it to that person, and then when the governor is questioning things like eviction, you don't need to be a good person to question eviction. Even if you are the worst person but you have questioned eviction, we should agree that there you are right. There was court order. It wasn't lawyers who have been enforcing a rule of law here. It wasn't lawyers who are telling the government that no, you violated the eviction orders. It was Sonko. And so Sonko here became an ally of rule of law. Sonko here became an ally of the rule of law and the help to question forced eviction. Sonko here questioned the President's Act as he's supposed to do because these governments are supposed to cooperate. And so when he's being removed by strong arms, there is no guarantee that another good governor will not be removed or has been intimidated. And that is the reality, that whether you like Sonko or not, he is being removed by strong arms because he has been disagreed with politically. The MCAs have simply been turned to a robot and voting machine, getting orders from the upper houses.
But MCAs wananyorosha kila mtu, hata mimi nilinyoroshwa kwa county assemblies.
Wewe uko governor?
No, but punguza mizigo. Nilipeleka punguza mizigo. Wakaninyorosha.
Wakakupunguza.
But at least they debated it.
You know, joke, eh? This MCA.
But two wrongs does not make a right. So kama ulinyoroshwa, umenyoroshwa na Sonko. So you
We
should
respect
empathize with Sonko.
We respect your munyorosho.
Let me tell you what happened. In some of the, you know, I find I have a problem with also the way the MCAs behave themselves. Because the problem also sometimes, they are so politically convenient that even in the case of, say, Punguza Mizigo Bill 2019, they actually, some of them refuse even to debate it. If I remember, for example, in Homa Bay, in Siaya, they were even saying kitu gani, Akuru Aukot. You know, I mean, at least 29 county assemblies debated. But in others, they even refuse. They say, no, we don't. Yet, the bill was actually going to benefit them. So I think one of the things, Doc, we need to put on the table here is when we talk about the role of MCAs. Do MCAs actually today even represent the people from the wards that elected them?
That's why they shouldn't impeach.
Yeah.
That's why they shouldn't impeach.
No, but if devolution is not helping, is not serving them right, yeah. If devolution is not serving them right, then, why shouldn't they impeach? Because, for example, I will tell you, when I was promoting the Punguza Mizigo Bill, 2019, most of the MCAs told me that one of the problems they have in giving services or rendering services in their respective wards was the fact that if they are not in good terms with a governor, they are literally being denied services. So they have to beg. And when I told them, I am proposing to amend the constitution to create what is called the Ward Development Fund, so that you in your ward can decide what are the priorities in my ward. Do I want to fix water? Do I want to fix electricity? Is it a bridge that has broken down? Is it a hospital? Ward Development Fund. And we had even allocated 100 million per ward. Okay? But the same MCAs refused this bill. They have to go and beg the governor. So, until the MCAs themselves become independent of the governor and represent the people, then we still have a problem with devolution.
Okay.
In the Punguza Mizigo Kenya revamped bill, I'm even proposing to give county assemblies autonomy, financial autonomy over the county. But you will still find the same MCAs are not buying into it. They think that their jobs are permanent. And if you look at, for example, someone like Sonko, I mean, and I sympathize with his political problems. Sometimes even the way Sonko and other governors behave towards, say, the presidents or even their party leadership, it's like their jobs are permanent. They don't look at the people they're actually supposed to serve. It's about self-service. It's me. And that's why they from the very beginning, they spend so much energy fighting about how I should be referred to. His Excellency? Is it Honorable Governor? Is it I don't know who? Even their wives should be called first ladies in the county. Very irrelevant things.
Aspirations.
Compared to service delivery to the people. And I think for me, until this country gets the Ojwangs, the Bitoks, and the Ekuru Aukots in charge, hopefully that we will still walk the kind of speak that we are, we are talking about.
Nothing will change
today, and nothing changes.
But Doc, we have to work with those who are there, and then they push, they became excellency, then act excellency.
One of the things that I've refused, even right now, sometimes I find it very difficult when I walk around and people call me Honorable Mheshimiwa. So I keep on asking guys, what is Mheshimiwa about me? Because I am not even elected. I don't have a seat. So I think Kenyans need to change their mindset. This thing of revering, referring to leaders as Mheshimiwa, Your Excellency. When there is nothing excellency about them, when there is nothing honorable about them. Actually, a lot of times, it is very dishonorable things that they are doing to the country. Like now, if you look at, for example, the way the country is being treated in the midst of this pandemic, this COVID-19 pandemic. All that I can see is very dishonorable acts from the leadership. But you will still hear the same Kenyan saying, honorable. Look, the same government has a policy in place that says do not gather more than certain number of people. But are you seeing the crowds signing for BBI signature? So I think there is something psychic, seriously wrong with the Kenyan national psyche. Maybe it's about about time some experts psychoanalyzes Kenyans to find out exactly what is our problem.
We need psychotic analysis.
I think we need some psychotic analysis because seriously, even as you are starving, you are hungry, you don't know where to get the next meal. But a politician comes by, and you go there listening to rubbish being told to you. I think we have a problem. We have a problem as a country.
Ojwang, even to talk about the leadership, there's something that Dr. is talking about is the point of handover. Handover of power to a different mindset. The other day, the deputy president has been very critical of the BBI process, even the document, and he has come out very strongly many times to say that he does not support the process, he does not support the document, the deputy president. the other day he had a meeting with over 150 MPs and governors allied to him. And he came out, it was not very clear what he was saying. And he has been accused of being a watermelon. He's still insisting that we need to have a consensus. Ojwang, what do you think? He has been accused of being a new watermelon, a new Kalonzo.
A new watermelon.
Watermelon is a watermelon. We are adding more watermelons.
Right, watermelonness. Or a melon. Let's just say a melon. You can be. There's various fruits there's various types of melons.
Yeah.
I think that at this point it's more of the political strategy that he's trying to employ.
Strategy or survival, Doc?
But that is strategy.
Survival
You have
strategy.
to be strategic to survive.
You know, I'm thinking, strategy connotes a more serious, well-thought, intellectually thought, approach. But when it's about survival, it's like you are groping. There may not be any informed.
But all the strategy, the most important aspect of any strategy is to survive. Isn't it? Because we first survive, then we do other things. So it is self-preservation, and maybe not thriving. You know, they say that never start a war that you cannot defeat or win. Sorry, never start a war that you cannot win. And only a fool will start a war that they cannot win. I think that DP, to be honest, is looking at the will of the state and how they are going to ram their way through this. And he's saying that they will, one, destroy anything on their path, but two, they are going to maybe have their way through the strong underhand. So then, do I want to be associated or to give them the dignity of a fight so that they feel they were fighting somebody, but they are fighting using the state system? So I think that is why he does not want to really be associated with yes or no and with the sweet victory. And so he's lowering the political victory for whoever is fighting BBI. Because I honestly think that those who are pushing for BBI are not so much they don't care about the provisions. It is the politics around BBI. For example, for one side it will be we have pushed through and nobody has stopped our reggae. The other side it will be, you know what, we have also we have isolated more those who want to be isolated. You are seeing Mudavadi amenata hapo anasema, I'm not isolatable. So I don't know whether that makes them watermelon. But again, finally, I'm looking.
What is your analysis? What's your analysis from his strategy? Also yesterday from the interview that he did.
Orange,
There are many fruits, okay? There are many melons. But my analysis is this. As somebody, the reason I don't go to most of these shows, it's usually run in terms of yes or no.
That's true.
And as an academician, I want to say yes, but they don't want that.
Yes.
I want to say no, but let me explain. I might agree with them, but not from the perspective they're coming from. They are not interested in that. They are interested in bumper sticker. Yes, no. Yes, no. Anybody, there's only two chances. It's like a teacher asking you, did Kenya get independent in 1964? And then somebody's trying to think. And no, it's simple. You have 50-50 chance of getting it. You can even guess and it's okay. So whenever somebody is moving beyond yes or no, and want nuance into this debate, then we say that is being watermelon. In fact, we are being counter-intellectual. Because, life is not simply yes or no, Aukot.
That's true.
Life is complex.
Yes.
Constitution is complex. Yes. The issues are complex. These are about how many chapters of Constitution that they're trying to
About 13 out of the 18.
About 13
Okay,
out
they
of
are almost
everything.
rewriting.
They have something for every chapter of the Constitution. So now, when you want
But some of the proposals are also very frivolous. Like, for example, you don't need to amend the Constitution to give a tax holiday.
Right.
You don't need to amend the Constitution to give a 7-year moratorium on paying of help. Most of the things that they are proposing, Doc, are very administrative. They are policy issues. They are legislative. Very little actually is constitutional. In fact, in terms of constitutionality, the idea that let's now write a constitution, the principle should be, what is it that we actually want to protect or entrench? Maybe because we fear that there is manipulation. For example, you may not even need to amend the Constitution to increase allocation to the county. Although I am one of the proponents of increasing more money to the counties. My idea of amending the Constitution to increase more money to the county is informed by that I want to entrench it so that nobody plays around with it. Because the current Constitution, Doc, as you ably know, it says at least 15%. Yeah. So again, if you're enjoying power, presidential power, this presidential fiat, nothing stops you from saying, let's allocate 80% or even 50%. Yeah. So you don't need to make it actually a constitutional argument.
You can actually allocate 100%.
You can allocate even 100% because, again, the people of Kenya...
So if you devolve all the functions, then you drive all the money down.
My idea of amending the Constitution through Punguza Mizigo to increase more money to the country is because I want to secure it. Yeah. Because currently they are not securing. Yeah. But back to the Ruto issue, if I may comment.
Yes, yes.
I think it's a lifeline for Ruto. This thing of... been ignored, and which is why he was going Tanga, because now he had no job. Nobody's consulting him. So he went Tanga. He was in churches, he was everywhere. So this thing is now giving him a lifeline, a political lifeline to come back to the center. And Ruto knows that. Number two, I used the analogy earlier on that if you look at, for example, we talk this kind in terms of individuals sometimes, which saddens me. We discussed it with them. These are political creatures of this system. They are political creatures of this system. They cannot run away. Like I used analogy earlier on. Hata ukiambiwa mama yako ni mchawi, huwezi kumkataa. You can actually come and say, oh, watu wanaonea mamangu, maybe they don't. Today I can pull your CV online and I can tell Dr. Ojwang has gone to this university, has taught here, has worked here. Can you pull the CV of William Ruto online?
I don't know. I've never.
Or can say this is where he has worked other than being a member of parliament, a minister. So their political survival, even their own political... It will not surprise me, Doc, and I'm not a prophet, neither am I the son of one, but I can tell you, I can see another NAC scenario building up through this BBI. I see a 202 situation where the William Rutos, the Mudavadis, the Kalonzo Musyokas and the rest, and the Railas, the Urus will form another coalition government in the pretext we want to unite Kenya, because that's what we were treated to in 202 until the referendum of 205 happened. Then ikasambaratika. So tusidanganyane, this is all choreographed for them to remain in government. Remember, one of the passions of this BBI is to expand the executive, to create this prime minister position, the deputies, and then accommodate all these people. And that's why each one of them is clamoring. They want to own a region. They want to own a people. They want to own MPs. So that tomorrow they can say, no, I come into this coalition because this is what I'm bringing on the table. So we are seeing another coalition in the making, actually, if you ask me.
So William Ruto is pursuing a coalition? Oh,
yeah, he'll definitely be there. In fact, even this pretense that, look, I like start giving an example. We keep on saying Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta were abusing each other in 2017. Mwingine sijui anamuita mwingine mlevi, mwingine sijui mganga, sijui nini, driver mlevi, conductor mwizi. Mwingine sijui ni eventually these people come together. It is you, the people of Kenya, who are on your own.
Wow. And
you are the ones actually who are giving fodder. You are feeding, you are fattening these individuals. So when they come together, in fact, what surprises me is that Kenyans are surprised that Uhuru and Ruto or Raila can come together. That's what surprises me.
Right.
That we are even surprised. That is a surprise. These people will always come together. It's always about them. You know?
The interest convergence theory, of course, that interests converge. But I'm also looking at it in terms of, Doc, I don't know at what age did you stop doing multiple choice? Did you stop doing yes or no or multiple choice question, and you got into essay questions? Because we know that it requires much more analysis and critique. So I'm not sure that pushing the world in terms of black and white, pro or anti, is actually playing into the agenda of whoever is promoting BBI. I think there is a more nuanced debate that somebody can say, especially if now you have given me to mark your work. I will say, while I see weakness here, I'm seeing strength here, I'm seeing whatever here. That does not necessarily make me any melon. It actually takes a lot of brain bundles to unpack this thing. And not simply come. You don't set an exam and come with your own marking scheme that mark it in terms of yes or no. I can say improved or whatever. What does that mean? If I say this can be improved, is that a yes or no? But beyond that, I'm looking at the Kenya we have and where the constitution is going. Even the idea of a prime minister that is selected by the president shows you that we are giving more power to the president. We are not sharing power. They are not president who is anchored on the people's will. It is one thing if a prime minister came and said, I came with my people into this coalition. So, Aukot, if you went to a coalition and we said, you know what, I came with 100 MPs, you will have a say. You will demand some things. You will say, what am I taking home on behalf of the 100 people, even if you might not reach that home with that thing. But you'll be negotiating in terms of, I am representing people. But when you are picked with the president and you are told from today you are the prime minister, then you are totally lost and you'll simply be getting blames. Vitu ikiharibika, huyu prime minister hafanyi kazi, unaangusha government, so it cushions the president, but he gets all the benefit. So that is the weakness. We are looking at all these various chapters of the Constitution.
But Doc, there is for me a very fundamental point that we miss. Even as intellectuals, even as academics, even as the learned people, I think what saddens me about this whole debate is how it has become so monolithic. It's like we are a country that cannot think of an alternative or another view. Like you ably say, if I ask you to write an essay, then it gives you a chance to be able to analyze, to look at some level of analysis that you bring on the table. What shocks me is the way in which the entire country today is being boxed into discussing one idea.
Monolithic.
That idea that we are just discussing only one thing.
Right.
Why can't even intellectuals, academics, civil society, the church say, fair enough, it is the right of Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga
to attempt.
They are surrogates, or they are cows, as they like to call themselves.
I like surrogate, but
okay, surrogates. To have BBI. But why can't we also come up with another counter proposal so that we give Kenyans an alternative? And that's why, for me, I still support the idea of Punguza Mizigo.
All right.
Yeah. And I'm going to publish this bill, very soon. I have it, actually I'm editing it, so that Kenyans can have a choice. This idea of being boxed, and also, it also saddens me, Doc, when people are saying, we don't like BBI. Why don't you like BBI?
Right.
Tell us why you don't like BBI.
Or why you like it.
Or why you like it. What is your alternative to BBI?
Right.
People are just complaining, lamenting, and doing nothing about it.
Doc, I think what you're saying is very profound. Because give it to Raila. Courage.
Yeah.
All the years, people have been complaining. You complain, then you go. You hope you get into ODM. You hope you'll be elected. You are shortchanged again. You cry again. Why don't you start your own thing? The constitution is clear, and they will tell you. Then look at Kenya now. From just the region, look at Kenya. Oh, Raila has abandoned us in opposition, and the question even to Willie Mutunga was, why don't you have been a chief justice?
Exactly.
Why don't you become the opposition? Where did you see in the job description of Raila that he must always be suffering
But
and be tear gassed? Where?
See, Doc, one of the things that for me disappoints me, that's why I'm even saying, even these so-called academia intellectuals are just intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
Because people read what is opposition from a very myopic angle. That you must be elected and must be in parliament to play opposition politics. I see opposition politics simply from the perspective that if you have an alternative view to government, including even policy, and you're not supporting that government, but you also propagate your idea among people, that is opposition.
It is.
Have an alternative opposing policy. But in this country, the reason we've been boxed into this narrative over time is because we have become chattels. We have become property. We are owned by certain individuals who now say, that's why they will say, I come into this BBI with 170-something MPs. You don't own them. You don't own votes. But you see, that is the dominant narrative now in our political discourse. That so-and-so comes with a region. So-and-so owns this region. My MCS, you'll even say my MCS. Even on the Sonko case, he had his 57 MCS. Those MCS are forgotten. They actually were elected from various wards to represent the people of those respective wards in the county assembly, not to go and sing and dance in the name of a governor.
But for impeachment, they're saying we are opposing it, so we are yours against impeachment. But you see, Doc, what I'm supporting, that people lack courage. People, even this show and all my colleagues who go to shows, our job is to go and lament and whine. Oh, what did they do to us this time? Oh, my goodness. Oh, this government is insensitive. Oh, they are going to increase the university fee 3 times. Oh, my goodness. God will see them. So the lamenting work is very easy. And that is where most of our people are. That we simply do what? Lament. Somebody come with their own BBI. And then you come and say, I don't like it. And you don't have alternative. And that is why then you are very different. Because you are not at the level of just lamenting, you are at the level of alternative. And that is what we lack in this country. And that is why I was saying Raila have a lot of courage. People will complain, but you are complaining on his way of doing things, but you are not bringing any alternative. So what do you want people to do? So if I go to Lowland and tell all these people why BBI is bad, but I don't have alternative. If I tell them why ODM is not good, but I have no courage to say this is the alternative, then it is purely academic exercise. And that is why, to me, I'm thinking that we must understand that as long as there is nothing different, these people will know. And they will be saying the right thing, that I own this region, because they actually do. It's a factual statement.
No, it is true. People like Raila and others actually own regions, and they even own people. We can joke about it, but for me, I faced that wrath last year when I was trying to promote Punguza Mizigo Kenya in all the 47 counties of Kenya. There are some places I could not go because I was told, no, you are not welcome because Mutetu, our leader, has said you cannot step here. I was not even welcome. They will not even table that bill. They call it that thing. They did not even call it a bill. They call it that thing. You know? So they were speaking of it with a lot of disgust. And why? Because somebody somewhere is pulling the strings. You know, what is this called? Is it puppets or marionettes? You know, people have become puppets of certain political leaders. So in the context of Kenya, I know theoretically, nobody can own another human being. But I think politically, the truth be told,
Factually.
people are owned. People are owned.
Kwa ground.
Kwa ground, mambo ni tofauti. So,
but you see, even there's there's even a right way of being owned. If you decided to be owned, submit to the good puppet master, because you know, even a donkey. Some donkeys suffer more, some donkeys suffer less, based on the owner of the donkey, ownership. So, if the donkey had a choice, you will look at how does this guy deal with this donkey, vis-a-vis how does person X deal with his donkey.
So you are giving a donkey a choice to be owned by either
multiple choice.
Even that is a choice. Yes, be a donkey to a good master, but it is bad to be a donkey and then decide to be the donkey to the worst master.
But I think the challenge, Doc, is whether one has capacity or even the intellectual acumen to determine that this is a better master, this is a worse master. If you don't know, then you will be owned by the worst.
At the beginning, now that he has opened, there's a preamble that we are donkeys. So, as a donkey, there isn't much that you can expect in terms of mental capability. But anyway, moving forward as well, you know, there's a document that have been made, which is BBI. They've said we want to unite the country. This thing is going to fix a lot of problems. Vijana, story yenu itaisha, wa mama, shida yenu itaisha. But then again, you want people to oppose it. Why is it that the proposers of the document are forcing people to oppose it? I saw the Gideon Moy that they were saying, no, there's no flip-flopping yesterday. Mudavadi is saying, no, they're not, you should go, choose a side, go to the north, then we start fighting. Kina Orengo and Raila Odinga. If you want this document, why are we forcing people to oppose? And there is one thing that I agree with the Deputy President, somehow. That he mentioned that there are people who also think like him. Like, it's not a good document. You, Ekuru Aukot, you also think the same thing. I mean...
No, I don't think BBI is a good document.
I'm saying you think it's not a good document. Yes. You're against it. There are many Kenyans who think it's not a good document. Yeah. And they prefer a conversation on the table. You know? It's not about now, since you've said, go on the other side and then we start fighting. Why is it that the ODM brigade and the BBI proposals are so adamant at pushing some people to oppose it? Is it more of a political duel than an issue of referendum? Is it maybe a preamble, maybe a preview of 2022?
Let's be honest. One thing I've learned about our country, and it pains me a lot, even though we are actually a country of pretenders. One of the things that has been said about Kenya is that we are one of the most educated country in sub-Saharan Africa, especially per capita. I think only Zimbabwe, sometimes back, actually beat us in terms of per capita. Even Nigeria with its big population does not beat Kenya in terms of education. So in this sub-Saharan Africa, Kenya does very well in terms of education. But now, I have come to the realization that we are actually just passengers in these colleges, in universities. We just sit and we leave these institutions without an education, without an informed mind. And one of the problems I see, even right now as we discuss about BBI, that people have refused to read and analyze this document, to look at the pros and cons of this document. People have refused to say, why can't we have another alternative? You know? So that's one of the major problems. We have got blind political followers. You know, and it goes back to the analogy of political ownership, where people are being owned. And if you are owned, you know, if you are a slave, your master decides everything for you. You know, a slave cannot say, you know, the moment you become, you begin to interrogate the decision of your master, you are flogged. You know, you are tied, you know, under a trend, you are flogged. And this is exactly what's happening in our country today. That people have refused to think for themselves. Others are thinking for them. You know, like now, I mean, look at the lies. Let's unpack some of the lies in BBI. To say that let's amend the constitution to give Kenyans a tax holiday, is that even a constitutional issue? No. Every year, every financial year, whenever you have got a new budget, taxes are almost revised. There's a discourse around taxation, whether which goods you want to tax less, to tax more. A taxation is not a constitutional issue. It's actually an administrative, it's a policy, it's even a legislative issue.
Yeah.
When we amended the VAT Act, is it last year, to tax certain commodities, why didn't we discuss that in the context of the Constitution? So one of those people have refused even to look at the lies. If you want to give Kenyans who have got help or given help, these are higher education loans. 7 years moratorium. Why do you need to put it in the Constitution? You see, some of the sweeteners in these BBI documents are pure lies, complete lies. Somewhere in this document it says that we should be proud of our black skin, and that we should now retrace where our ancestors came, why they left where they came and came to settle to Kenya. How is that a constitutional issue, honestly? What will be the work of historians?
We live better when we find out where we came from.
So honestly, I mean, some of these lies for me is what makes me wonder, are we even educated as a people? Do we even have the capacity to be able to interrogate ideas? There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with BBI, but I think also give a reason why you are disagreeing with BBI. For me, I think there are just too many lies, and as a country and as a people, we have allowed ourselves to be boxed into it. That's why you can even see some people still claiming that, say no to BBI, but let's implement the current constitution. I agree with them. We can actually choose to implement this current constitution. But we should also go beyond Bitok and say, who then do we want to entrust with the implementation of the constitution?
Yes.
Because the same people who are now driving the narrative of BBI actually have been in government for at least the last 10 years, if I recall. Even more by the even more during even the constitution making process from 2009 up to the promulgation in 2010. All these people have been in government, actually even in one coalition government at one point or the other. They are the same people who are choreographing this narrative of one unity Kenya because they want to create a coalition for 2022 and they will be in government. So when we say let them implement the constitution, they are, first of all, they have no capacity to implement the constitution. Secondly, they have not even read this constitution. Because if they have read this constitution, right from, say, for example, Article 6, let's even talk about devolution in the context of Sonko's tribulations. The Constitution says there has to be cooperation and consultation between the two levels of government, the national government and the county government. And therefore that you must now devolve services to each and every part of the Republic of this country.
Interdependent, yes.
They are interdependent, distinct and interdependent. Yes. We've never seen that cooperation for the last almost 10 years of the existence of this Constitution. The Constitution also says, for you to effectively deliver services to each and every part of this country, you can actually transfer those functions. If those functions can be well realized in one level of government, that's Article 187 of the Constitution. And that transfer comes with resources. So that today, if I want to serve the people, say, of Oma Bay or Mandera effectively, I don't have to hoard and hold a function here at the national level when I know if I transferred it with the requisite resources, the people of Mandera or Moyale or Marsabit will be served better. And then the Constitution also says, even when that function is yours nationally, you can still retain that function by dint of an agreement. And that is specified in Article 189 of the Constitution.
And the Supreme Court actually yesterday buttressed that you cannot do that, even those conditional grant, until you have
an agreement. An agreement. So this thing of people saying, oh, it's my function, I'm holding it at the national level, it's because they have not read the Constitution. If the idea is to serve the people of Kenya through the Constitution, through the resources that we collectively own as a country, through this Constitution, why are you holding onto a function when people are suffering? Even things like, for example, by the way, security. Matiang'i doesn't have to go around here flaunting himself and claiming that, the security docket is mine. When today, me, coming from Kapedo, people are dying in Kapedo today as we speak. There are raids from neighboring, Pokot. People in the Kwamosing are dying. People in Isiolo. There's insecurity. But the Constitution allows Matiang'i, for example, to say, let me transfer this function to, say, Governor Mohamed Kuti in Isiolo or Nanok in Turkana, but under an agreement.
Share the security.
It can even be a supervised. You can even tell him, I want you to report to me every day how you have ensured security is realized in your country. That doesn't take away the power from Matiang'i as the minister. It actually serves the people of Kenya more effectively. So when people say, and this is the argument I've had with the Honorable Mother Karua, one time I asked Karua, you know, this thing you keep on saying that let's implement. Tell me who will implement this constitution. Today, do you expect President Uhuru, when he comes back, either as a prime minister, because I'm told that's one of the, Uhuru wants to do a Putin on us. He wants to amend this constitution so that he comes in as a prime minister, like the way, you remember the scenario of Putin and Medved, the then president of Putin had served his term of presidency for like two times because the constitution does not allow. So he went back and came back as a prime minister, but actually he was still the president. And then when his term ended, he came back now as the president, up to date. I'm told that's what Uhuru Kenyatta wants to do for this country through this BBI. He knows that constitutionally his 2 terms are ending in 2022. So he will amend the constitution to create the prime minister, then he comes in as a prime minister. He can put Raila there as a puppet president, because most likely that's what will happen.
To keep him busy.
But he'll still be the president, So the problem I have is we cannot entrust the current political crop, especially those who have been for the last 10 years, to implement this constitution. That's why they are busy mutilating it. They are busy clawing back on the gains of political gains that we made.
All right. Ojwang, why is the BBI group so adamant at having the deputy president or other politicians oppose it? If Aukot today declares his misgivings on the BBI report, be told, no, don't lecture us, go to the no side, then we start fighting. Why are we saying now? We are saying we want to pass this, but we are telling don't support it, don't come here, stay on the other side. So they can. Why are we seeing such level of adamance?
Because, I think for politics, and as Dr. Aukot have said, for politics, to be fat, you are being fattened to be destroyed. Because I've sharpened this knife. It's like for those who went for village dances, I never did. They will sharpen a knife and wish there is a war, or carry a big rungu. And you are just there wishing, let somebody cause trouble. Leo, I'm ready. So if this person does not cause trouble, then you are deflated. But you know, if you bring your document, you cannot again tell me how I should respond to it. That is unfair. My response, my choice. So if I decide to be watermelon on it, if I decide to say yes, if I decide to say no, if I decide to ignore and say talk to the hands because my ears cannot hear, you cannot prescribe to me how to respond to your shoddy document. I mean, isn't that the epitome of arrogance?
You know, Doc, I'm not I've never read marketing, but I think I know something little about marketing. I think the proponents of BBI are very poor marketers. You either accept their document or you don't. And once you even question it, you become an enemy of their process. So they are very poor at selling this document.
No, but maybe they are poor by design. You might think it is random, but it is meant. It is meant to be that way, so that we can defeat you. You are minding your own things. You probably had your goals on how to survive Corona. You probably are just moving from quarantine center to now go back and check your business. And then, boom, somebody has pulled you to a BBI fight. You are not ready for that fight. And then on top of that, that's why now I have to prescribe to you how to respond. We have, when you are stuck, even on snow or mud, somebody will tell you, stop digging deeper. Stop spinning the wheel. Because the more you spin, the more you are actually getting stuck. That is exactly what is happening here. And I think that is what people like Honorable Martha Karua are telling the president. They're not saying he's worthy to implement the constitution, but saying in reality you have taken the oath and you are the president. Rather than digging deeper and destroying the constitution further, mutilating it, just stay there and finish your term. So I don't think they're saying that it's an endorsement that they have confidence that they will implement the constitution, but they're simply saying if you know, almost what doctors do, they do no harm theory. That if you can't improve patient condition, don't make them worse. And I think that's what they are saying.
But the question is, Ojwang, you know, why the pressure to have people opposing it?
Why the pressure? Because, you know, look at even the issue of pastoralist. The pastoralist went with good faith that they wanted some things improved. The 1 man, 1 shilling is entrenched. The new constituency is coming with CDF and is based on population and no other factor. Yet representation is not about population, but interest. Then, now, they have been given a shout-out. Simply, tunawatambua kind of thing. In the BBI, we recognize your hustle as pastoralist. And then now, the constitution, the BBI is supposed to be friendly to the pastoralist. This thing given to youth is more of a shout-out. By the way, I recognize you youth. Okay, now I have something for youth. I think that Bitok, to answer you directly, the reason that people must oppose it is because when Raila refused to go back for the second election, he deflated Uhuru's victory. It wasn't sweet. Even among the Jubilee supporters, when Raila was not in the ballot, they refused to show up and vote, didn't they? Because the narrative had been us versus them. So when Raila and his team decided to not go for the second vote and to contest, then the voter turnout was very low. Meaning in Kenya, people are dichotomous. People respond to threat. People go to ballot to deal with the threat. So if even in Nyanza, Ruto do not oppose BBI, then there is no motivation of voting for it. And so they want higher voter turnout because they know that the other referendum was passed by about 57, 60-something percent. Yes, the 2010 constitution. Yes. So voter turnout, higher voter turnout, to make it also a political statement for 2022. It will not be a political statement if only 20% of Kenyans turn up. It will not be a political statement that, see, I've told you. You see, this is how I'll deal with him in 2022. You saw now, nimekuonyesha tu kidogo. 2022 will be now, whether now you put Wembe ni ule put Bantu Aksa, Wembe di ure, whatever. Now you can't say that when there's only a paltry 20-30% voters turnout. So for this to have meaning and statement and message for 2022, it must be a contest I must win. Finally, the constitution itself raises threshold. And I see a constitution there. You know the threshold, Dr. Aukot. What does it take for referendum to be? It has to have a certain threshold of voters in majority of counties.
It's like just the election.
What
like
is
winning the presidency?
Yeah, what is the threshold?
I think it's 20. Is it
25%.
Yeah,
at least 25%. In 25.
Although in a referendum, there's a big debate about whether we have a law. This has been debated for quite some, so they haven't really. I think there is a bill in Parliament to
prescribe that. There is a bill that is coming. I saw Irungu tweeting that is coming. So if you must have at least 25% of registered voters.
Yes.
Do you know it's not easy to get that? If this thing is not hyped up, if this thing is not contested, that even in Nyanza, in by-election, we usually have a voter turnout, Bitok, of about what, 30-40%?
Yeah.
You can easily have this thing, and you'll have even those bases, you might not get the 25% voters turnout. So how do you motivate them to come?
So it has to be competition.
You must tell them, drink this poison and it will kill Ruto immediately. Yeah. So you must convince them why this poison you are giving them and giving them to drink will not kill them, but will kill their enemies. But without that,
let's all drink, but now it will kill this other person.
But I think Dr. Ojwang is raising a very fundamental point which we now really must discuss further. And this is we the people. If you look at this constitution, it
The
says
preamble.
we the people. Look at the preamble. It says we the people. We have recognized certain things. We have done. We have all these things. It doesn't talk about that man Ruto or that man Raila or Uhuru Kenyatta. The constitution doesn't say that. It says we the people of Kenya. We have acknowledged supremacy of the Almighty God. We are honoring who heroically struggled to bring freedom and justice over. We are proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity. In fact, when I read about that, I just say we are liars. Are we actually proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversity as a people? I think we are not. And determined to live in peace and unity as one indivisible sovereign nation. We are divided around this kind of thing by individuals. We say we are respectful of the environment, which is the heritage. Yeah, we are committed to nurturing and protecting the well-being of the individual, the family, communities, and the nation. I mean, when you read this preamble, you just realize how we are such liars. And that we are recognizing the aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on the essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law. Exercising our sovereignty. And then lastly, we adapt, enact, and give the constitution to ourselves and to our future generation. So as we make this constitution, as it becomes a duel between political players, where are the people of Kenya? And this is the fundamental point that Doc has actually raised.
Yeah.
While the followers will be told, hii sumu kikunywa itaua Ruto lakini haitaua wewe nyinyi. It is those leaders actually competing for them, for their own ego, for their own self-preservation. But now, where are we the people? Why can't we make this decision and say, okay, this proposal that they are making, how are they of benefit to me or to our community, to the family, you know, to the nation we call Kenya? If today this BBI is actually dividing leaders at the very top, and people have said this, and I think it's a point we need to emphasize again and again. If BBI is dividing the leadership of this country, how then can it unite the people who follow them blindly? And this is why you will find people in the informal sector or slum areas or certain regions hate the other for no apparent reason. Just because leader X has said, I don't like the people from region Y. You know? And this is the idiocy of us as a people. This is the mediocrity we actually need to cure amongst us. You know, and when you even have leaders openly saying, sisi ni ng'ombe ya mtu fulani. Yeah? I mean, I'm not lying. This was Mohamed Junet who said it. Sisi ni ng'ombe ya Raila. Whatever atasema. You know, when a leader says that in a public podium, na huyu ni mtu ako na bibi, ako na watoto, where is even the self-respect that we talk of?
The self-preservation.
Yeah, self-preservation. So, I think while yes, it can be a duel for those people fighting towards 2022, Doc, but now we need to bring back this debate to the people of Kenya and ask, where is your role as a... Because at the end of the day, those people alone cannot vote and pass this constitution. Their votes are only one. Each one of them has one vote. It is again the people who will actually vote to even reach that threshold.
25%.
25%. You know, so it's the people. So at the end of the day, whereas it is a duel contest between these few individuals,
There needs to be a space for the people.
there has to be space for the people. And that's why for me, when I was conceptualizing the Punguza Mizigo Constitution Amendment Bill, I chose either of the two options. Parliamentary initiative, but because I was not in parliament and I'm not in parliament, I chose the popular initiative, which is go to the people with general propositions. If they buy into it, then draft a bill, go to IEBC. Now, in BBI, we see a reverse order. It started with the two individuals saying, let's establish what aids this country.
And then we give them that
pact between the two of them. Fair enough. And I've kept on saying, is it possible, supposing the president of Kenya was accessible to even 100 Kenyans, who says we have got what we call shared prosperity between you and me? Yeah, seriously. That you and I have shared prosperity.
Me and the president, we just let's have some shared prosperity.
At least with 100 people. And now everybody comes with a BBI with the president. 100 BBIs.
That will be better than 2.
Exactly. And then they say...
You know, shared prosperity sounds very nice
Then they
until
say-
you have to share something.
Then they say, let's find out what ails this country. And I will repeat it again here. We talk, and let's not run away. What ails this country has been established in a number of commissions. Starting, for example, even from the TGRC. I think TGRC was the most recent, 2013, if I'm not wrong. You know, then there was this Constitution of Kenya. There was the Krigler Commission.
There was the Waki.
There's the Waki. There's the Akiumi. There's the Ouko. There's I don't know who. So many. Ndugu Commission on matters land, irregular allocation, and land. All those reports have actually established what ails this country. But BBI is very silent on all those issues.
And you
and wait a minute. The other thing, Doc, what ails this country is a number of politicians who believe they must occupy the political space. And in their quest to occupy the political space, they're actually causing chaos and disharmony in this country. BBI has not told us how do we deal with those individuals who refuse, for example, even to accept the results of an election, and instead tell people, let's go and cause chaos. How do we deal with vigilante groups that are owned by certain individuals? We have had so many vigilante groups in the Baghdad Boys,
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh. Is this Bangladesh or Baghdad Boys? Yeah. Kuna ile inaitwa ni somewhere in Kisii, I think there's
Chingororo. Wenye walipiga mshale William.
All those groups. Are we addressing those issues? Especially, are we addressing the violent politics every election? We are not addressing those. In fact, BBI is weakening institutions. For example, when they say every time that let's disband, for example, the electoral management body every election, we are not strengthening institutions within the constitution. We are actually weakening them. We are cherry picking and saying let's pick Ojwang because Ojwang will favor us. Now there was a proposal, political parties pick election management body, management body. Honestly, you are a player. You are being told pick a referee. Even just by that simple analogy alone, we are not serious.
Right. Even as we close the discussion on the constitutional amendments, I want us to look at the process so that I can give you a rejoinder as well, Ojwang, but just so that you can have it in mind.
That's fine.
About the process of collecting signatures. They've already declared that they've conducted 4.6 million signatures. According to your participated in collection of signatures, I'll give it to you as well. But what is the process? Because there have been complaints from Kenyans that we are forced to sign this document. Watu wa kazi kwa vijana wanasema tumelazimishwa.
It took me over 1 year to collect 1.4 million signatures. Over 1 year, and I used both technology and physical forms. We went to the marketplaces, to the bus stop terminuses, and we managed to collect, and then we had to input them, to put them down into an Excel spreadsheet so that we're able to take it to IBC, both in soft copy and hard copy. So it's not a simple exercise. It's a very laborious exercise. What BBI team is doing, and I can tell you this for free, they are actually lying that they have got those signatures. I'm sure these signatures either have been stolen from the electoral register and already planted, and I will challenge them. Because even yesterday, I don't know whether you saw, I tweeted, they put my name that I have signed, I've endorsed the BBI. You've not seen a certificate?
Oh, yeah.
There was a certificate showing that Ekuru Aukot has endorsed BBI. They even gave me a reference number. Go to my timeline, you will see it. So they are lying to Kenyans. They are putting people's names. It's like the way the Okoa Kenya, was it in
2016.
2015, thereabouts.
2016.
They went to M-Pesa, they just got M-Pesa registers and they put people's names. This BBI is doing the same thing, trust me. Because I'm yet to meet a Kenyan who actually supports BBI. Even on this table, I can even take a vote right now.
So you feel it was not procedural?
No, it was no. Those signatures, to be honest with you, one, I think they are fake, or they are just putting people's names into those forms.
What about the procedure? Does government has authority to tell you to sign a document?
Of course, it's unprocedural, and it's even unconstitutional. They are even forcing people before you get service. In fact, the stories now we are hearing, if you go to a chief's camp seeking some services, even to get a form, unaambiwa sign up kwanza. So they are forcing people.
You saw another chief in funeral.
Yes.
As eulogy is going on, he was going around with his form. because you have been given a target.
And there is intimidation.
Yeah, but you see, here is where
I think Ojwang, you had picked up that conversation at Signatures last week, the other week coming. So I don't know. Let's look at it from a point of constitutionalism.
Right. Yeah. Because it's a popular initiative run by government. So of course that has been challenged by even Governor Kibwana, that can government.
Public officers.
It is like a grown-up going to restaurant and ordering from a kid's menu. No, popular initiative is kids menu. It's for people who are not in the power. You cannot use public resources, public personnel and money to do a popular initiative. And you can see when the people say, but this is a government project. So it's a government project, we must support it. How can that be a popular initiative? Exactly. But again, I look at Kenyans who go and are told sign here. And they're saying, no, I don't want to sign. And then they're told, do you want Kazi Mtaa? And then they sign. I have two people to blame there. I have that Kenyan first to blame. People have gone to jail fighting for changes in this country. Kina Raila were tortured for years. You cannot refuse. Kazi kwa vijana, you must sign, and then you go post in Twitter. You are the people failing this country. That is number one. Let us not mix that. Of course, they have taken advantage, or you are just vulnerable, you needed pocket money or whatever nonsense. You are a bad Kenyan. You are not patriotic.
You are the problem.
Yes. That Kenyan who went to the chief for service, akaambiwa sign here. But because you had to sign, and then you come complain later, you are failing Kenyans. You are then most selfish. Kwanza mimi nikikupata unafaa uchapwe viboko sana. You are not a victim. When you're mbaya saidi. Because Okuru, this is the same culture hata kwa voting.
Yes.
Huyu yenyewe tulazimishwa tu nayo haki. Na umemvotia. These Kenyans, identify them. Bitok, you have capacity with your show to identify them and bring them for disciplinary action. Let us start from there. Now let us.
I would also use the chiefs. Nobody has a monopoly of using chiefs.
Now moto ni moto. Let us fix this country one block at a time. Any Kenyan, any civil servant. I saw some civil servant in a harsh tone. By the way, nilazimishwa kusign. Some on these Kenyans trick them that kuna sawadi yao. Wakisha kuja kwa room, there's a time a prosecutor in Chicago did that. There were a lot of people who owed child support. And you see child support in the US, you must pay, whether you are COE or Kenya, where they only show up during funeral. there, oh my goodness, when I was working as a public defender,
you even fear to die in this country.
We even attached somebody's teaching license. So he could not teach until I'm a lip up child support. There is somebody who won lottery. Then akawa na his sweet new girlfriend. He went abroad and he posted to us that is what? I'm not going to pay child support nini. Do we know we attached the passport? Yeah. And when he came to come back, akamwambia, sir, this passport is attached. You must call the child support, the nini office, public defender office, for you to negotiate. Before we release that passport, you come back to the US, you must pay at least $3,000 for child support. Na hiyo pesa ya lottery hataki mchezo. So there is a time the prosecutor became very innovative. And then the most funny thing is one time I saw somebody who owed big child support. Amekuja court, t-shirt imeandikwa the father of the year. So what the prosecutor did this time, he found all those who owed child support. Akawatumia a message at you have won, kuja kwa hiyo hoteli. Hey bwana. Ndio hao wamekuja with their pink shoes, suits and all that. Unafika huko, chain ndani. Some of them wali realize na mbona watu wana disappear haraka, wakatoka mbio, wakafukuzwa, wakanini. This is what should happen to these fools. There's no word for a fool except that they are fools. I mean,
you cannot romanticize it.
No, there's only one word for a fool. you have capacity to tweet.
I thought they said they're intelligent fools or idiots.
all this variety of them. You have power to tweet. You know what is wrong.
Exactly.
Aukwa asleep. You can even tweet about it. I mean, you have goosebumps.
But
to even involve us in this nonsense, finally, so that these people find them for me. But secondly, I'm looking at it in terms of we cannot ignore the human agency or human action, and that is where the politicians come in. That they have strong human action. You said we have several reports. Do you remember the TGRC? Do you know BBI does not even address the issue of land injustice? Which winner takes all? The reason we have divisive election is land.
Exactly.
Does it take a brain surgeon to determine that? That one of the reasons we have divisive election is because of historical land injustice.
Yes.
Now BBI and in imperial presidents who can use chiefs.
But you know the number one thief of land in Kenya, Doc?
Yeah.
When you read the Ndungu Commission on irregular and illegal allocation of land, the number one thieves of land are the people in government, strictly in that order. Especially people in administration, people who have been presidents, those who have been MPs, all those people.
People who are bringing the bridges.
Exactly. People who have built, bring the bridges.
The bridge owners.
So you have to start with them. They are the people who have even, I remember even 2010 when we were doing this chapter on land, chapter 5, land and environment. Do you know we came across one of the political leaders today who are actually in BBI, who are the title lead of a part of Mombasa Road? Yes. Even Procession Way. You know that road that comes from State House to Serena? Somebody had a title to it.
And you see the BBI.
And they are very active right now politically.
Tulisikia hata kuna mtu anatold the airport. Kuna jamaa alienda kuna negotiate goes airport.
And you see BBI now mentioned that we will respect private property. And you can tell that this person is securing themselves.
Article 40, Article 40, sub-article 6 of the Constitution is already respecting private property.
Maybe we will respect it more. There's different degree of respect to private property. But you see, the reason I'm bringing that up is that I'm looking at our kins in South Africa with similar constitution. The conversation is about here we can't even do minimum and maximum acreage, especially the maximum acreage, you know, which is in the constitution.
It is.
Up to now, it cannot be done for obvious reasons. Maximum acreage will affect some people who have land that are so big. Now, in South Africa, the constitutional moment is about reallocating illegally acquired land. That is the progress. That is progress. That is now improving the document and saying, okay, we talked of land, but now we cannot protect private property willy-nilly because people can have title without entitlement.
And
that's what we have.
Going a step further, Doc. They are saying even when you acquire land irregularly or illegally, we are taking it back without compensation.
Of course,
that is improvement.
But if you, Malema's analogy, if I found that you stole my car, you will not say, but unaniachaje bwana. Si unipe hata nusu ya hii gari.
Nipe lift kidogo.
I mean,
at least give me a lift home.
Right. So that is why the issue of compensation is even silly to discuss. Illegal and compensation, they don't go together because you have title without entitlement. That is the South Africa conversation. We are far from there. BBI don't touch any issue on the historical land. Now, finally, even those reports, remember TGRC, there are some members of TGRC Commission who refused to sign the chapter on land because somebody somewhere decided to remove some names. Last minute, remove some names from that TGRC land chapter, and we had honorable people who said, you know what, I'm dissenting on this chapter because metoa nani. But still it was better. So look at it. You know, if you came and you found a young man growing and they were 6 inches, and then you come 10 years later and you find they're 3 inches, you can't call that progress. That is very bad. That is what this BBI is doing.
And I think, and for me, Doc, you raise another very fundamental point in constitution making processes. when you are making a constitution of a country, there ought to be one common denominator. It must serve the people. There has to be a benefit that accrues to the people, because it becomes that contract we call the social contract. So there has to be a benefit. If there is no benefit to the people, then that cannot be a constitution, cannot be a social contract. So even as we make this constitution, even as we propose to amend the constitution, the question that we must ask, a fundamental question on the table, is what is the benefit that will accrue to the people? You know, it's not about what accrues to individuals or people leading the constitutional talk or constitutional narrative. That for me is a prerequisite. If we cannot do a cost the benefit that comes to the people, then it's not worth our time and our money. When we were promoting Punguza Mzigo Kenya last year, I was able to demonstrate to the county assemblies and to the country that we will save about 3-something trillion Kenya shillings when we address things like corruption, we reduce commissions, we reduce over-representation, and then we are able to take that money to education, to healthcare, to infrastructure, and Kenya will be truly a united country. We are able to say that in the 1450 wards of this country, if we take money equitably to the 1450 wards, and they all develop based on priorities in that ward, then you will achieve what is called inclusivity. And it's possible going forward that you achieve a nation state. Right now, as we are, Bitok, wacha kudanganyana. We are just a conglomerate or an assembly of ethnic tribes that pretend to be a nation. We just found ourselves accidentally in a geographical location called Kenya. Na hatuna country ingine ya kwenda.
Tuko hapa.
Tuko
We
hapa.
here to stuck.
So we cannot say that we are a nation state. A nation state is united on certain fundamental issues. That you will not allow some section of your society to suffer and others flourish. And this has been the history of Kenya. And that's why there is so much political violence every election year. Lazima mtu wetu aingie. The idea of mtu wetu aingie bunge, bunge or presidency, is so that we can now steal from the state.
It's our time to eat.
It's our turn to eat. That's a very wrong narrative. Even and unfortunately, BBI has bought into that wrong narrative. That let's expand the executive, because if we expand the executive, we from say a popular tribe will come on board. It is the idea that we will steal from the state to benefit our own. We need to carry each other together. You know, that's why we must apportion resources equitably, but ensure, for example, even in the remotest part, and Doc has, has lived in the US. Doc can tell you, in the US, it does not matter how remote a state is or a county is. It has the basic facilities. It has the post office, it has education, it has health, it has, you know.
I remember one time my car was destroyed, couldn't work. I didn't have key to the house. I had to call the police to bring me warm blankets. Yes,
that's a service.
Within 5 minutes, they were there, and I was being taken. I was covered. Are you okay? I was put in somewhere warm as they took care and defrost my car. I mean, that is service.
Ingekuwa hapa the police ataniletea blanketi. Atanisaidia blanketi, gari imeharibika kwa barabara.
What does the blanketi? I'm under attack.
Right.
I'm
fighting Uganda.
I'm fighting Uganda.
On your own.
Utaambiwa weka mafuta Land Rover. Weka mafuta, tume ya mafuta Land Rover.
Kwanza utaambiwa bwana. Exactly. Utaambiwa tuma mafuta.
Land Rover haina mafuta.
And let me tell you, that's a very
ulikuwa unafanya nini Uganda?
Service. When you are in a nation, in a country, and you can enjoy service, regardless of your color, your ethnic identity, then we can talk of a nation state that we all belong. We can talk of a country that we are all proud of.
And I like that regardless. Sio ile ya president, ile regardless. Because that is not regardless. And
by the way, there's nothing in grammar called regardless anyway.
Well, actually, regardless has since become an English word.
Oh,
it's
really?
Actually it's like a it started as a Brooklyn lingua. It's finally actually an English word. Irregardless. You can check it out.
No, but let's just stay in the narrow and straight path. But actually, see that plane delivering signatures.
Irregardless,
regardless of our differences. So let's just do it.
Asubuhi na mapema taking BBI to Lodwar. Can you imagine? Delivering BBI
Yeah. Haijapeleka mask. Anyway guys, as we
Hajapeleka mask. Hata ile free tulipatiwa na Jack Ma. Hajapeleka these government sanitizers in the villages. But
wacha tusikie watu wanasema. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Jambo.
Mzuri sana.
Sema haraka upesi.
My name is Victor.
Yes, Victor.
I'm calling concerning the transfer function. I feel that the BBI doesn't address when they speak of the 35%. I think the BBI should. The constitution was clear that for every county to prosper, the devolution was an aspect of growth in every sector of this country. So telling Kenya that you're transferring 35% of the revenue of resources, yet you're not transferring function is a lie to Kenyans. I think we should address what does the panel think about the sweetener of the BBI constitution by putting 35%.
All right. Asante sana ndugu. Thank you so much for that. Have a good day. I appreciate. Na Wakenya wanajuanga Kenya wanasema lakini sijui ni kaugonjwa gani kana kianga kwa debe. Nasikia kuna kapepo kanasikia kanaingia kwa mapuu unaanza kuchizi. Unaanza kuandika vitu zako.
Especially group imelazimishwa kusign signature.
Ndio mbaya.
Ndio itapitisha BBI.
There's something that happened yesterday. There are three things that happened yesterday. Wanyorosha. Ngoja ndakunulia nyaunyo. Kazi yako tu ni kunyorosha wa Kenya. There are things that happened yesterday. One of those things is a statement from Ikuru Yatane, the CS for finance, and supporting the budget and preventing the economy from crashing is our main priority. We borrow to support the budget. Underline. We borrow to do what? Support the budget. Support the budget and prevent the economy from crashing is our main priority. We borrow to support the budget because revenue is either limited or not there. I would be dishonest if I say everything is okay. We are in a state never witnessed before. The drastic reduction in revenue and the performance of the economy is a concern. I like one thing about Somalis. They don't lie. Nakwambia vile iko. Nakwambia waria. Haiwezi.
I mean, it's a Gabra.
Yes, wherever they come from. And I mean, the thing is, the question is, guys, this is a statement from a man who handles the accounts of government.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. He's telling us the only thing that we are now actually on, we're on life support.
Even went there to say, brace yourself for tough times.
I mean, what's your feeling?
Let me tell you, if we don't grow our own economy, if we don't industrialize, if we don't invest wisely, even if we borrow, you cannot borrow to support an economy that is not growing. It is nonsensical. In fact, I disagree with him. I wish he was telling us that
will you allow me to pick it so that we can? Okay, it's an international call.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Hello.
Your call will be recorded.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, Gerald.
Yes, tuambie, huyu nani?
Huyu ni Gilbert.
Yes, Gilbert, tuambie. Haraka upesi.
Yeah, I'm calling from Colorado.
From Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mahali Ojwang aliitisha blanketi polisi.
Yeah, this place is beautiful. But you like those are basic stuff like you need to get, you know. Yeah, so sometimes I like when I'm here, nikiwatching news ya Kenya hata na feeling, I feel so bad when I hear those people talking. Now people are dying in hospital. We don't have masks. We don't have students are in school. Like, you know, you don't get the basic stuff, food, health. Yet they are roaming around, sending chiefs and everyone to go and sign something. And, you know, they force people to sign it. That's the worst thing. So when I listen to them out here, I feel like crying. I feel bad. Yeah. So I don't know. Kenyans need to style up during election year and think. They need to think before they go to vote, like, you know. And I think the best thing about, like, we need to find a way how to, like, educate people a year before election, you know, to tell them, like, to vote on issues, to vote on. Usipige tu kura kwa sababu ya kabila, usipige kura kwa sababu sijui nani na nani. Piga kura kwa mtu mwenye atakusaidia ama mtu mwenye atakusaidia kwa maendeleo, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you.
All right. Asante Sana. Thank you for that. All right. I think that's the calls we'll take today so that I also don't waste your time. We have almost 10 minutes only. All right. All right. Please pick it up, Aukot, where you had left it. I apologize for that.
Okay. I think I must have lost my trail of thought. But I was just saying that, yes, I was saying You see,
it was the state of the economy.
yes.
The minister should say.
You see what the minister should be telling
go beyond,
us.
yes.
It should go beyond telling us that we borrow to support the budget. You see, our own budget must be homegrown.
Yeah.
And for you to have a budget that is homegrown, you must be able to demonstrate the investment in the economy. How are we industrializing? Are we creating jobs? You know, we cannot just borrow. And I think what Ukuru Atani also missed to tell us yesterday is how much in debt are we? How much debt do we have right now as a country? Yeah. You know, people keep saying, I don't know, either we are 6 trillion or 7 trillion. We need to know. And what is the recovery formula that we have put in place? By now, I would expect Ukuru Atani to tell us, even because of COVID-19, we are sending a team to whoever we owe money to restructure that loan, even in the long term. By the way, there is no country in the world that does not have a loan, even the United States of America.
The responsibility is different.
Yeah, but it's how we negotiate. I think, again, I go back to the point I made earlier. We say that we are one of the most educated countries in sub-Saharan Africa. But how come even our best economists cannot renegotiate the kind of loans? Our loans are so punitive. And that's why we cannot even grow, because we are paying so much money to lenders. And that's why other services suffer, like healthcare. I mean, if you look at, for example, the impact of COVID-19 on a number of issues, not just health. Look at how COVID-19 has affected the education sector. Look at how COVID-19 has now brought to the fore the need for us to make information technology, IT, internet, a basic need. You know, employment, job opportunity. How do we secure jobs? You know, right now we should be talking about having in this country an employment insurance. And if you lose your job, there is an insurance, a cover that at least will cushion you even for 6 months, 7 months before things happen. You lose a job now, you actually just begin to die. So those are the kind of conversation I think the minister really should be telling us. To tell us, first of all, are we new in Kenya? See, we've been borrowing. We've been borrowing all the time. We are not new. Kwanza with this administration. This administration middle name is borrow.
In fact, even the CS himself has said we are borrowing to sustain the economy. He has accepted that we actually borrow.
Yes. But why can't he tell us exactly what policy measures have they put in place to actually even cushion the economy? For example, the 7 million small, medium jobs that have been lost because of COVID-19. Is it then worth, this minister should tell us, is it then worth to allocate 14 billion for a referendum that is even divisive in the first place, that is dishonest, that is unconstitutional, that is amorphous, that is repetitive, that is directionless? You allocate 14 billion to that referendum. But you cannot tell us, I can use that 14 billion to save these small businesses that have collapsed, because these businesses are actually feeding Kenyans. These businesses will probably generate taxes. BBI, spending 14 billion in BBI, will not save taxes, will not generate any taxes. Unless there's a miracle that will happen. But because I know if I today invested 14 billion, and I'm not a businessman, I'm happy to be a lawyer, but I know if I invested 14 billion in the economy, that circulation will somehow generate some business, generate some taxes that go back to the state. But I put 14 billion into BBI, it's just throwing it into a bottomless pit.
All right. Dr. Ojwang.
Yeah, I think that...
Are you worried?
About the economy.
The statement by Ukuru Atani, and he's the same guy again who will sign off the money for BBI or for referendum.
Of course, because you remember even before COVID came, we were doing very bad. In fact, people felt that, serious economists felt that we were living in an artificial world. Our currency should have been devalued. The real economy was bookkeeping. It wasn't reflecting the reality on the ground. Majority of our economy, about 40%, is informal, and it has been hit hard. COVID have just added to a bad situation. Our worst situation has become very, very, very bad. So that is the reality. You know, other places, our government are reaching them with vaccination. Here we are being reached by signatures or to sign. It is ironical And it takes a lot of very good nerves to do that to somebody and expect them to not be angry. That people are being reached with masks, people are being reached with vaccines, you are being reached to sign. And the argument, so then this ties Bitok to the argument of things can wait. That the priority then is that changing the constitution is not urgent because the economy is very bad, because COVID is there, because there's nothing so innovative here. But the counter argument on the other side is, you know what, post-election cannot wait. So, and I've seen some tweet and similar. Somebody saying, you know what, Ethiopia is on war, whatever, and almost, it is almost a threat. If you don't pass this BBI, I'm going to make sure that there is no peace in 2022. I'm thinking that for whatever it's worth, BBI could wait. We don't have, the process is bad. We talked of how the government is managing it. We have all the other challenges with even provisions. At the end of the day, the reason Kenyans fight is because of the big house. And Aukot said it. We have one big house in the country where everybody goes, and if you are there or proximate to it, you eat well. The farther you are, you eat less. And so why are we even surprised that Kenyans are tribalist? If my name... thieving culture. That thieving culture. If my name determines whether I get a job or not, then it is obvious that I will also logically vote according to that name. If my name determines whether I get a commission or not, my name determines whether I get a tender as big as KEMSA tender or not, then it is obvious that in the ballot, I will also behave according to that name. Because, you know, we say function follows money. Tenders follow voting. And if I get privileges based on my name and my region, then logically I'm going to protect that.
You're going to behave like a...
So finally, I'm thinking that as Kenyans, of course we have been on our own for a long time, but I like the option you are bringing. I've always felt it's not enough to always come to a show like this one. And others to simply lament and simply ask, how bad did they treat us this time? Oh no, this is shameful. Oh my goodness, oh no, they didn't do it again. Oh my, what? I think that is a tired narrative.
It is.
Where we are going, look at the pedagogy of the oppressed. There is no slave without master.
That's true.
There is no politician without supporters. There is, and by the person who was saying there is no slave without master.
There's no farmer without donkey.
right. There's a person who was saying there is no slave without master, was saying that the thinking of slave will always make them a slave. And the thinking of a master will always make them a master. So that if you find yourself in that slave master, where you are being given BBI without caring that you don't have a COVID mask, is because as a slave you must do slave things, and master must do what master do, and this is a master thing, and slave will also do what slaves do. That book and that quote is saying that there is some thinking. These functions are there, and the moment you have assumed one, the other one is legitimized. And so if you refuse to be a slave, then there will be no master. But as long as you are a cow or any variation of the domestic animals, there will be a master who will tell you, this is the right thing, do it now, pass it for me now, and it can't wait. And the guspa, by guspa I mean the audacity. We say in Doluo Wang Matek. Wang Matek ni jicho kavu. You know, you can just go to the public and do something and pass gas and not apologize. Wang Matek. This Wang Matekness here is coming because slave role is not to question the master. So if master have negotiated and said, Mr. Jones, you are going to work in Mr. Jones' farm, Nest Farm.
You say yes, sir.
You say yes, master.
Yes, master.
You know, the slaves, the good slaves, even knew in their language to say, when the master is sick to ask, Master, are we sick today? They're not sick, they're slaves, but
the house on the building.
Are we sick today? Yeah. Master, what, the way we do in the houses, maybe, you have this maid, and you ask them, what are you feeding us in this house of yours today? You are using the word sarcastically because it is your money. It's not the house. In this house, what are you feeding us today? They didn't buy the food. It is almost the same thing. So I want to finish with that word that there is no slave without masters. Okay. And if you are the slave that you are, then be the most flamboyant slave. I don't know the nini, but don't complain when the master do the master things. These are master things.
Behave like a slave.
Be the slave. Be the best slave that you can be. Because if we talk of democracy, haven't this cow chose to be a cow? Isn't that a democratic choice?
The decision.
I have chose to be a cow.
Yes.
So why are you saying I'm not a
my
cow
decision.
I've chose to be a slave?
So I cannot say that you're a donkey when you know you're a cow.
No, don't I have a right to be a slave if I want to be a slave? That is democracy.
So, all right, there's someone on the line. Just a minute. Hello. There's someone who's been sitting on the line. Yes, how are you?
Yes, I'm okay.
Sorry, I've held you online for a long time.
Yeah, this is Mahmoud, your friend from Mombasa.
Oh, Mahmoud vipi?
Salama sana.
Mahmoud Nur.
So leo, yes.
Leo
nimeona ni salama na shukuru.
It's been a long time. Habari ya siku?
Nashukuru, hatuna neno, tuko sawa kabisa. So I just wanted to contribute,
yes, please.
And I would agree a big deal on what the previous host there was talking about. Because I'm looking at the situation in Mombasa right now.
Yes.
One, when you go to public hospitals, because in my position as serving the community, I receive a lot of calls and people want support. Others are actually, when they give you the symptoms, they're actually COVID patients. The temperatures, everything. But the reality is, if they go to a public hospital, at the moment it's not functioning because people are on strike.
Wow.
Or when they go there,
strike is coming.
It's actually like sending them to a place where they will not be helped.
Kama kuwatuma kwa kichinjio.
Ndio. And then when you go to a private hospital in Mombasa here, without a deposit of 500,000 or 1 million shillings, you will not be served.
Exactly.
So where is the average Kenyan? And the average Kenyan includes the middle class. Hata mimi saizi kunilazimisha niweke milioni moja nitatoa wapi? And a lot of people will consider me kuwa I'm a privileged person.
Yeah, sure.
So there is real problem, but I do not want to blame the leaders today, and that's why I'm agreeing with the previous speaker, because the problem, the politicians have seen what Kenyans want. A majority of Kenyans are cheerleaders. They enjoy this kind of life, and right now I'm telling you, whether it is a governor position or president position, they will never look at merit. They will never look at the best candidates. They are not interested in good leaders. And I think this is what pains me, because even come 2022, I really don't think whether a majority of Kenyans are interested in good leadership. That is a big lie. They only talk about it on Twitter. That is why even now as we speak about COVID issues, where in other countries presidents are almost going home because of the way they handle COVID. Here, you say people do not want BBI, but I've seen even here all over the country, they come in flocks to come and sign those papers, regardless whether they've read it or they've not read it. So the politicians are not stupid. They know what their people want.
So and they will deal with slaves.
Yes.
Slaves are doing their slave things.
Yeah, and even if you look at the formations that are happening, the people who are in the hustler nation, they will follow Ruto wherever he goes or whatever he says, whether there is merit on it or not. So it is people are just they are in mirengo flani, regardless of whatever happens. I don't know when, because it really pains me. I don't know when Kenyans will start making decisions based on issues. But if you ask me and you tell me it will happen in 2022, it's a big lie. Because I deal with a lot of even young people, people as young as 20, 21, and their thinking is the same. So unless we start building a generation at a lower level, probably put a foundation and instill values and a different mindset, then we expect changes in probably 15, 20 years. But trying to think that you can just come from somewhere and you sell very good ideas and you think Kenyans will support you, on the kwa ground huku ni tofauti.
Mambo ni different.
Bado yule mwenye pesa na mwenye jina kubwa ndio bado anaweza kusway watu.
Asante sana Mahmoud.
Asante sana.
Thank you so much. Kwa siku njema, natumai kukuona tena Jumatatu. Thank you so much bro. Salimia watu wa Mombasa.
Asante.
There's a insight coming from this guy. And this guy is a very serious guy, by the way. He's works in government. So Noor is not a joke.
But I feel Mahmoud's pain. I really feel his pain. And na tuseme tu kweli. Tuseme tu tuna ujinga fulani kwa hii nchi, tukubali.
Ufala.
Tuko na ufala, ujinga, sisi ni matapeli.
Shenzi.
Sisi ni washenzi. Tukubaliane tu kwamba tuna ujinga fulani na hiyo ujinga ni part of our identity. Because itakuwaje leo hii ati serikali inakwambia kwamba ukipatikana na hii janga la COVID hata hiyo NHIF au utatumia. Insurance company ndio hizo zimesema kwamba you are on your own. Even if you have got say a 20 million or 10 million inpatient cover, they say no, they will not cover it. And the government is quiet about it. Every government now in the world is concerned about the health of its citizen. They are doing all they can, including even now ordering for vaccines. Already there are countries like England where they have already even emailed people to tell them what time to come for vaccination. So really, na sisi wa Kenya bado tunawafuata tu. We flock those gatherings to sign for this BBI. Me, I will say this to you as my tackle of the day, Bitok.
Even before you go, umeongelea maneno ya ujinga. Nataka tuongelee ujinga wa vijana. Ujinga wa vijana. Jana gava imesema the government is planning to triple university fees.
Yes.
Triple university fees.
Imagine.
In 2021, reduce the ELB disbursement.
Exactly.
Wapunguza yani. Now they're telling us they're going to give us memorandum. Memorandum or moratorium, whatever it is, or memorandum, whatever, I don't care. The question is, and we have a lot of young people who are singing and saying, okay, we must pass this thing. Where is the reality? You know? Utuongea ujinga vijana.
Sasa hapo ndio kuna ujinga zaidi.
Hapo
ndio ujinga imekolea. Yani ukiangalia tu vijana hivi unaona tu ujinga inatembea. Hata kama
potable ujinga.
Kwa nini?
Moving foolishness.
Wanasema ati we are the most populous in a country.
Sisi kama vijana.
Sisi ndio wengi katika mitahani sijui nini. Vijana ukiangalia hizi 70% of unemployment in this country in affect vijana. You know? Vijana cannot even borrow. In fact, this wazee ndio ujue vijana wako na ujinga. Hao wazee wana create hizi inaitwa nini, youth fund. Alafu wanaambia vijana mu apply. Alafu vijana wanaambiwa kuje na collateral hauna. You know, hata maybe bundles hauna za kutosha za ku-apply online. Na vijana bado utaona tu ndio wako kwenye rallies. Vijana ndio bado watachukua mawe kupiga vijana wengine.
Yani na kwanza mbija bwana. Mmoja alipiga mbija karibu na mimi. They know how to do this mbija thing bwana.
So the truth be told, kama kuna watu wajinga katika hii nchi na katika hii generation ni vijana. Because vijana ndio wanadanganya mwaka nenda mwaka rudi. Kwa hivyo sisi ni wajinga, sisi ni mafala, sisi ni washenzi, sisi ni ng'ombe,
slaves.
Sisi ni
slaves.
Punda. Sisi ni slaves. I don't even know, hata adjectives zimeisha. Lakini bottom line, vijana tuna ujinga.
And you know,
because vijana today wakiamua, doc, if vijana today wakiamua, wakierevuka tu even for 1 minute, even for 1 minute, watasema hii BBI ni ujinga, potele mbali. In 2022 watasema sisi sasa tunataka serikali ya vijana. Because wataenda kwa debe, watapigia serikali ambaye hao wenyewe watachagua hata kijana mwenzao. Kwa nini vijana wachaguani hata mitahani?
And you know,
alafu vijana hii mambo ya handouts atujio mzee sasa unatuachaje? Utatujenga. Sasa unatuachaje mzee? Hata unakwambia mzee wewe unaongea sana bwana. Tumaliza
na story tujenge.
Hiyo ni ujinga. Tangu lini handouts ya 10 bob, sijui 100 bob hata ukibahatika inakujenga wewe? Inakujenga kivipi?
Doc, vijana, the vijana. You know what?
As you combine it to your tackle, then when you hand it to Aukot.
You know, these vijanas are still waiting for Raila, an 80-year-old man, to save them. And they have nerves to complain how this 80-year-old is abusing and molesting them. With their BBI, they are the ones who go to the chief camp and are saying they are forced to sign, and they are calling themselves and have nerves to complain that Raila have done his shares. Raila has been in jail for you. Now it is up to you to also speak up for yourself, or forever remain quiet. The level of entitlement in this generation, the entitlement, where they feel they are owed in something. When people like Paul Mwite and even Nani were fighting even Anyang' Nyong'o, I don't blame them when they take their rest and say, I'm tired of my street days.
Yes.
Who is going to run? Orengo cannot run anymore in the streets. And then the so-called vijana cannot simply withstand a signature kwa chief camp, kusema chief, I'm not signing that thing.
Yes.
But they are very active to plan serious parties and save their money for drinking sprees. These are the same people who, when you talk to them, they feel their ignorance should have equal forum and equal opportunity, just like your knowledge. You are, you know, ukisema one sentence, hata mimi niseme one sentence. Notwithstanding that I'm ignorant, but why do you think your knowledge or you being knowledgeable is more important than me being ignorant?
Yes.
So, my boys, so that watafutwe kama tunafanya BBI, tutafute mali ya maboys wakuje wa rap. Wewe tukisema devolution aihusu vijana, hizo sio mambo yetu. Nyinyi kazi yenu itakuwa ni when we talk of vijana
ama expanding the executive.
Yes,
usikaribie maneno ya executive.
Executive sio kazi yenu. Independence of judiciary hiyo sio ya maboys. Sisi kama vijana bwana. I mean it is, you know, we sing one song in our church, prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. These are the people who are prone to always wander. So as I conclude,
we need to sing that song.
Prone to wander, Lord, I feel it. You know, it is not a competition, vijana. We are not competing for who is the dumbest. They have turned it to a challenge. Because when you think
it's a Jerusalem challenge.
When you think they have come with the most dumbest thing, they almost reinvent the worst. It is not a competition. This is a country where we have the Jerusalem challenge dance. You know, one song has become now the sensation, and everybody with their mama is now Jerusalem challenge. Notwithstanding Corona, notwithstanding Okuru Yatani saying the economy is collapsing, notwithstanding the danger imposed by BBI, people are still doing their jigos and they're happy with their challenge. You know, one thing that make law, and in jurisprudence, if law don't have a concept of common good, if law does not have a concept of the general welfare, then the lawness in the law is not there. Because law cannot be a personal thing. It's not your piggy bank. It is not something.
There has to be a common good.
It's not something. There's no common good in this BBI.
Yes.
It is blotting the government. This constitution, we the people, cannot be something that when you do handshake, you go and you turn it to your marriage certificate to solemnize your handshake. It is belongs to the people, and the people must arise to protect it. Thank you.
Now, part of my tackle will be to challenge people like Ochieng Ogor. Ochieng Ogor, one of our listeners, is saying to me, Ekuru Aukot was overambitious to go for the presidency. He should have gone for gubernatorial. I want to tell Ochieng, that is part of the ujinga we need to ondoa. Because, to be honest with you,
Upuzilization.
Exactly. Why are we saying some individual must be president, others must be governors?
Yeah.
In fact, for how long have we left this space to those same people? Yeah. I wish Ochieng Ogor,
and that's why they're not selling us the expanded executive. They're selling us the help loans and all that.
Exactly. I wish Ochieng Ogor will tell me, actually, I'm fit to be president of this country, and I want vijana when you pigie me mikura. You know, this thing of pigeonholing people, yet we have also seen. Because honestly, I meet all the qualification for president, probably even better than all these guys. Few of these guys want to be president. I think tuache kujipiga. We are always putting ourselves down as vijana, saying that we are not able to do these things. For me, I will tell Ochieng Owuor, it's not a matter of life and I won't die. It won't kill me if I don't become Kenya's president. But what continues to kill me, Ochieng Owuor, is us sitting on the fence and complaining about how these people are duping us, are lying to us, and we are doing nothing about it.
The silence of our friends.
The silence of our friends.
Yes.
And to Ochieng Owuor, I will remind him this. Since I was, I think, in nursery school, if my recollection is right, we were told that you are tomorrow's leaders. Vijana, tuliambiwa sisi ndio viongozi wa kesho.
Tomorrow has arrived.
Tumenini, tumemaliza nursery, tumemaliza primary, tumeenda high school, tumeenda university, tumeoana, tumezaa watoto, bado tunaambiwa tumekuwa wazee.
Bado ngojeni kesho.
Mimi kama saizi hata ungeangalia madini
umekanyaga pepte na bado naambiwa kesho.
Bado naambiwa kesho. Mimi si kijana. Yeah? When is this tomorrow coming? So I want to challenge vijana. Let's stop this thing of saying we are tomorrow's leaders. We must arrest tomorrow and make it today. Wow. Because our real life struggles are felt today. The struggles about employment, the struggles about education, the struggles about health, the struggles about just survival. We are feeling them today. So this thing of being told ngoja mpaka kesho ndio kuwe kiongozi, hakuna kitu kama hiyo. We must become leaders today. Lastly, as part of my tackle, I want to say, Bitok, BBI is not a matter of life and death. It can wait. But COVID-19 and its devastating effects is a matter of life and death.
It's actually a matter of death only.
It's a matter of death, actually. Yeah. Not even life and death.
It's a matter
so
of death.
We must prioritize in this country. What must we prioritize in this country? And let's stop supporting a process that is just duping us and avoiding the most important things that make us human beings, that make us people worth of calling ourselves Kenyan. Thank you so much, Kenyans. Have a good weekend.
All right. Thank you so much. The two doctors. Now I had doctors. I had D square.
Yes.
Doctors all over. I was surrounded by doctors. I appreciate the conversation we've had and the wisdom that we've shared. The tacklers as well. I really apologize today. I was not able to read out the comments kwa sababu hii kitu ilikuwa imewaka sana. Singeipea nafasi. Thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure to have you. Tunashukuru sana kuwaona kila siku. Please continue supporting us. Let's keep pushing these conversations and have it better. Kwa vijana maridadi pia. Thank you so much, Maridadi Motors. Kwa kazi mwere pia. Unaona hapa badge niko na Maridadi Motors. Ekuru madaktari kama unataka gari kimbieni pale Kiambu Road Maridadi Motors. Kama unataka pia kawash kuna sparkling pale Kiambu.
Pesa bwana kununua.
Utakosaje? Tafuta pesa. Tafuta pesa. Wanaume ni kutafuta pesa.
COVID imetunyoa.
Imejonga watu.
Imetunyoa.
Okay, nitakuwa tu sawa. Let's keep praying. Well, guys, thank you so much. This is a tackle and the tackle ends now.
Ndio wako na pesa.
Ndio wako na pesa. Sasa tuingie bibi atapata kitu. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great weekend. Enjoy. This is a tackle and the tackle ends now. Bye bye. We love you.